COVID-19 leaked from a U.S. lab? A key COVID-19 Commission report that stated the virus may have slipped from a laboratory in the United States has caused controversy for the Lancet. The research, which was published on Wednesday, stated that it is still possible that SARS-CoV-2 originated from either a natural spillover or a laboratory incident and urged the implementation of additional precautions to lower the likelihood of either scenario. But the investigation, which took 2 years to complete, also hinted that American researchers might be at fault. Facilities in Wuhan were mentioned, as well as the fact that independent researchers have not yet studied U.S. labs. It was also claimed that the National Institutes of Health resisted sharing specifics of its work. The Commission chair, Professor of Economics Jeffrey Sachs, is embroiled in controversy when the report is released. He claimed to be quite certain that SARS-CoV-2 came out of a U.S. lab of biotechnology, not out of nature during a conference in Madrid earlier this year. This assertion has since received widespread support from Chinese diplomats. In August, Professor Sachs spoke about his beliefs on a podcast hosted by Robert F. Kennedy Jr., one of the most well-known anti-vaccine commentators in the world. This was just days after Instagram and Facebook suspended Mr. Kennedy's account for sharing a lot of misinformation about vaccines, according to the platforms. The 58-page report's authoritative findings and recommendations, according to experts, have been overshadowed by Professor Sachs' conduct, and the Lancet has come under fire for not removing him. Sachs' involvement in RFK Jr.'s podcast, according to Professor Angela Rasmussen, a virologist at the Vaccine and Infectious Disease Organization in Canada, undermines the gravity of the Lancet Commission's purpose to the point of utterly refuting it. She said that she was quite astonished at how flagrantly the study ignores important data on COVID origins, calling it perhaps one of the Lancet's most humiliating moments in terms of its position as a steward and leader in disseminating important findings about science and health. It's incredibly unfortunate to see such a potentially significant report contribute to additional misunderstanding on such an important topic, Professor David Robertson of the University of Glasgow's Centre for Virus Research said in addition. It's true we have details to comprehend in terms of natural origins, like the precise intermediary species involved, but that doesn't mean there's any basis for the crazy speculation that U.S. labs were involved, he continued. In response to questions from The Telegraph, Professor Sachs reiterated his earlier statements and said that he personally oversaw this part of the work on the creation of SARS-CoV-2. He disbanded the initial task force under the direction of Dr. Peter Daszak last summer because he felt it was excessively biased in favor of the natural origin theory. Although it was never reconstituted, Professor Sachs claimed that commissioners had had numerous meetings and engaged in extensive consultation. The final text has received approval from all parties. The issue of a potential laboratory release mainly concerns the cooperative U.S.-China research on viruses similar to SARS, the expert said. The dean of the National School of Tropical Medicine at the Baylor College of Medicine in Texas and a member of the Lancet Commission, Professor Peter Hotez, claimed that there had been different perspectives and that he had pushed hard to delete any reference to U.S. labs since it was a distraction. In addition, he said that listening to Professor Sachs on Mr. Kennedy's podcast had left him speechless. The article only briefly discussed the history of SARS-CoV-2, the rest, according to specialists, was based on thorough research. The COVAX scheme was found to be hindered by failures in science policy and implementation, and the report warned that most nations still lack meaningful pandemic preparedness plans. It also emphasized that more needed to be done to combat vaccine hesitancy globally and mentioned the striking irresponsibility of several influential political leaders. Thanks for watching. Please consider subscribing to the channel.